Alrighty, welcome in everybody, family, friends, lovers, supporters, haters. We're tapping into the Sober and Unbothered podcast. This is episode 13, I believe. We got another special guest in the studio. Sober Fit Rach, wellness coach, sobriety coach, mindset coach, the coach. Rachel, what's up, man? How are you?
Hey, I'm so good. I'm so stoked to be here. And we found the connection on Instagram. It's great.
Yeah,
It's great to meet people like you, you
I
know,
know, right? I know we talked
connection.
previously, like earlier this week, and I was kind of telling you how it was cool, how kind of being in this space is led me to meet, people like you and just people like-minded people in this space. So I'm glad this connection has happened, and I'm glad we can get you on a podcast. It's
Yeah, me
cool.
too. There's
Yeah,
there's perks to the internet, the social media.
yeah, I agree. I agree.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I know I told you a little bit about me, previously this week, but I
Yeah,
kind of yeah, I want to hear more about you, and I know I didn't do my digging on you because I wanted to hear it from you, So I want
I
to know
know.
what was your origin story to, what was the moment where you were like, I need to stop drinking, you know?
Oh my gosh. Well, it was way, way before I actually stopped drinking.
I hear that.
So yeah, I was pretty self-aware of um my tumultuous relationship with alcohol. For I kind of ballpark like the time frame, but I had recently gone back with one of my best friends and like recorded me reading text messages from her from like over the years of just like my shame spirals and like all the
Well,
things.
okay.
And
Yeah.
they dated back to like 2019.
Okay.
But, like, even before that, I feel like it was before I communicated with her, it had been, like, years before that, so I wouldn't say I was probably about 23 or 24 when it was, like, pretty apparent to me that I had a problem. I was an early bloomer, like very many people. I had my first drink at probably 13, 14 years old, and yeah, pretty early, and I have, like, a vivid core memory of, like, the first time I ever got drunk. Like, obviously, I would, like, sip alcohol and stuff, but, like, really getting, like, wasted.
Yeah.
I, like, got alcohol poisoning, and it was a whole thing, and it was, like, 48 hours of just, like, vomiting, and I was, like, 15 years old, so, and from there, it just kind of yeah, I think it's so normalized these days, especially in high
Okay.
school.
For sure.
Obviously in college, I know college was a big part of your story too, and, it just became, a coping mechanism for me, and, it became a crutch, and yeah, I have a lot of complex traumas in my life and, childhood and even, like, adulthood, and so there's just, like, a lot of pain there, and, there is, a famous author. His name is Gabor Mate. I don't know if you're familiar with him or not, but he does a lot of work in like the addiction space. He has like a famous quote that's like, it's not why the addiction, but like why the pain." And so there's always usually pain behind, somebody who has a substance abuse problems. Yeah, I'm getting off on a tangent here, but
Nah, 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 nah. Yeah.
so yeah, so high school drinking, college drinking, and then it wasn't until after college that I had some encounters with I mean, I like did drugs like experimentally in college, but it wasn't until after that it became like a regular occurrence for me.
Right.
I live in a big party beach town and cocaine is a big drug here and so I got my hands in that and it escalated. So alcohol just became that gateway for that. And, it just got really, really scary for me. Like just lots of and I'm in a long-term relationship. So lots of like hiding my alcohol and drug use and um just so many things. And yeah, I eventually got to the point where I was having suicidal ideations, like, especially after long benders on the weekends, and, I finally was experiencing enough pain where I found myself a therapist, and God bless this first therapist I found. I just like found her on Google, and she was like a local family therapist. And like within like the second session I had with her, she was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna need to refer you to an addiction specialist. Like this
Damn.
is out of
Yeah.
my realm." Like I was like coming into my sessions like full blown like panic attacks, like sobbing, like, just telling her like I can't stop, and like
Yeah.
and it so yeah, she referred me to an incredible addiction specialist who, and I've seen many over the years, but this one person really sticks out to me because she really helped me, like, understand. She gave me the knowledge, and it was very scary, especially at that age too, like, all of your peers around you are, like,
Yeah.
participating in this, so you feel
Yeah.
so justified.
Mhm.
It's so normalized, which is, like, part of the problem, and, yeah, she really helped me through and helped nurture me and, like, give a lot of self-compassion to myself and help me understand, like, this isn't my fault, and, it was a journey from there. I went from, multiple therapists, and eventually and all of them too were, that's a big part of my passion behind my coaching, and starting my own business, is because I was told over and over again, like, my solution was to go to AA. And I know those programs are so amazing, and I'm not here to speak negative about them. I just think that they're not one size fits all, and sometimes they just don't resonate for people as they didn't for me. Like, I tried, I went, and I definitely found benefits from them, just community. I know you talk about community is so big and
Yeah.
in
Uh,
sobriety, and I totally agree with that, and I think those spaces offer community for people and to be, seen and heard and supported. Um but it just wasn't for me, it didn't resonate for me, and so that's where, the cycle just became a loop for me too, because I was like, it's not gonna work for me kinda thing, and eventually, like, I don't really necessarily believe in rock bottoms. I think they definitely occur for some people, but, like, I think that you can get ahead of things sometimes and make a decision to choose different before and I think there's spectrums to a rock bottom, like,
yeah. Yeah.
somebody's rock bottom can be getting, like, a DUI or, like, getting a divorce from a spouse because their addiction gets so bad, or it can just be, doing the same thing over and over again, and you're exhausted, and it's just causing a lot of pain, which was my story, and so, the last time I ever drank was September 2nd of 2023.
Oh, okay.
Um, and it was Labor Day weekend, and
Yeah.
it was a normal weekend of drinking. I remember we had friends over at our house drinking, and, uh, cocaine was involved, and, I was, like, ready to go on to the next party, and it was, like, 11 p.m., and I was like, "Okay, like, we're gonna go to the bars," and there was other people going, and my husband was like, "What?" Like, we were at our house drinking, and I was like, "I'm gonna
Yeah.
go out. I'm gonna go out now," and I won't ever forget it. He looked at me in the eyes, and he said, "Okay, I'll see you at 5 a.m." And I said, "Fuck you," and I slammed the front door, and I came home at 5 a.m. And
Yeah.
and, like, my heart is, like, pounding, like, telling the story because it's just, like, bringing me back, like, into the fight or flight, like, my body it's funny because I do a lot of subconscious work, and, the brain doesn't know the difference between a memory and what's happening in real life. So, like, I'm, like, re-experiencing this as I, like, tell this story, but, yeah, I remember him calling me at, like, 4 o'clock in the morning, like, over and over again, like, he's scared for me, like, "Your wife is, like, out and, like, not home, and, like, where the fuck is she?" And, God bless his soul because 'cause he's been through a lot through this journey with me, but, I remember coming home, and we have a little corgi dog with him, and I had its I hadn't gone to sleep. I hadn't slept. Like my nervous system is fried and I'm just like seeping with anxiety, like the anxiety feeling.
Mhm.
And I just remember like tears just like streaming down my face like when we went on a walk. We didn't say like one word to each other. And I just was like, I can't I'm gonna get emotional. Like, it's funny, I've been on podcasts before telling the story, and I get so emotional because I just, like,
Feel it.
remember how much pain I was in and was like, "Am I gonna do this for the rest of my life?" Like, and that was it for me, and I was like, I have to try again." And that was it, and it was history, and I just think I just had enough. So, yeah, that's a little bit about my story. I think 30 not 30 3 months in to that my sobriety journey now, I just had like all of these like insights of like epiphanies of like you're supposed to like tell your story and like you're supposed to this is why you went through this because you're supposed to show others this path and that there is um, other ways to get sober and I do a ton of, like, inner child healing and, like, just revisiting my past traumas and just healing all of that because that's really the root to all of my substance abuse is just there's just so much pain that I've never healed.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, 3 months into my sobriety journey, I started, like, looking up, coaching certification programs and, like, um 6 months into my sobriety, I had signed up for a coaching program and I had started it, and so it was pretty quick, like, I knew, I was like, "This is what I gotta do, like, this is my passion," and I think I mentioned on our phone call earlier this week, like, you were asking me about my current corporate job and stuff, and I kinda mentioned to you it was, like, a big also part of my story, which it is, like, we spend the majority of our lives at work. And,
Yeah.
I just had found myself in a career that was not aligned and it doesn't fill my cup up. And it's a paycheck for me. And I hate that. I hate that people live like that. And I'm just so hungry to find something that brings me genuine joy and like this is it. Like this just
Mhm.
like fills my cup up so much. Like just having these conversations and, connecting with other people who resonate and then helping other people who are struggling and let them know there's a better way to live. Cause like I genuinely like feel like living alcohol free is truly like a blessing in my perspective. I know a lot of people don't feel that way in sobriety, but like I think it's so beautiful and I'm just here to share that with the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely a journey, like being able to feel that contentness, like in yourself, to be able to, feel like you're free and you can actually live a fulfilling life. Not being able to drink and not being able to associate with partying and drinking, and
Yeah.
it's so real that you like were saying that you were getting emotional, like thinking about reliving those experiences and those times in your life where you felt like it wasn't necessarily rock bottom, but it was a hard time. And
Yeah.
I tell people all the time that like when you quit alcohol, when you quit drinking, like it's essentially kind of like a breakup, like because
Yeah.
you've been so connected with drinking for so long, and when you like really are on the fence of battling with, oh, like, am I really gonna do this for the rest of my life? Like, am I really gonna stop drinking? Like, and it's really a heartbreak because like you've been associated with this thing like for so long, and to be able to think like, damn, like I don't know if I could do it. Like, I don't know if I could really walk away. And I think that's what people get stuck at the most, is trying to
100.
get past that feeling of like, I don't want to leave you. I don't want to let you go.
Yeah,
And it's a freeing thing to just be like, yeah, nah, I'm just gonna do it. And some people realize, later on that, it was the best decision. And it's hard. Um,
it
but I
is.
just wanted to yeah,
It's yeah, it's grief.
not,
You're grieving. You're
yeah,
grieving your
yeah.
relationship with alcohol and not just that, but like the life you had. Like I'm not going to sit here and say like I don't miss it because like there are definitely times and places where I do. But like I have the tools and the self-awareness now to like when I am experiencing like FOMO or like whatever be like, take a step back and I analyze all of it. And I'm like, yeah, like, you're not getting maybe the same experience when, you go to like a big party or a wedding when it comes to like letting loose and drinking and all the things. But like, and then I run the tape through. I always tell my clients, and I preach this on my social media too, of like, play it through. Like what's going to happen after that first drink and the third drink, and like how are
Yeah.
you going to feel that's the biggest thing for
Hmm.
me is like, how are you going to feel tomorrow, and is that feeling more like, is the feeling of like those couple drinks greater and more important and outweigh what you're going to experience tomorrow? And the answer is always fucking no. And
Exactly.
it's like, some people, it takes a while to get that skill, like you really ruminate and like, oh my God, I feel like I'm missing out on all these things. And like, it takes time to build that toolbox, and like, I know fitness is a big part of both of our journey. And like, it's been so healing for me to like, that's where I get like my endorphins and like,
Yeah.
the things that, like, I used to get from drinking and all that, like, I get in the gym now and, it's great. It's good.
Hell yeah. What things would you say that you had to like unlearn from like your past self to like yourself now? Like, what things,
Um,
yeah, what things do you miss, or like what things did you take with you?
yeah, I feel like God, it's like it's not a tough question, but it kind of is.
Yeah, I hear it. Yeah,
What do I miss? I mean, I miss the feeling of, like, that relief that, like, alcohol and drugs gave me. It was like,
yeah, I feel it. Yeah,
and that's why alcohol and drugs are, so dangerous and addictive because, like, when you when you can feel relief or pleasure from something that doesn't require work, it's
yeah,
dangerous,
yeah,
right? It's really dangerous because it's so easy. You're opening a pill bottle or a beer bottle, and it just, yeah. So I miss the instant gratification of all of it. But that's probably the biggest thing, to be honest. I feel like I'm at the age where most of my friends are kind of settling down and everyone's getting married. And I'm honestly past that. My friends are popping out their second kid at this point. So, like, it's not a huge party scene where in my life anymore, so I don't really feel like I miss out on some of that stuff, but it's just, yeah, it's like the instant gratification of like, "Oh my god," like, you're having a really shitty day or experiencing something just really emotional, like a breakup or whatever, and you just can't, you've gotta sit with those feelings now, and there's, like, no
yeah,
escaping.
yeah,
So, I miss that
yeah,
sometimes, like, it's human nature.
yeah. Sometimes sitting with those feelings is like it's heavy too. It's like it's something you got to learn to just deal with. And like I always tell people too, like because they always ask me like, oh, how do you get past these feelings? How do you deal with it? And sometimes it's just like that's the thing you got to do is just deal with it. You got to just sit with it. And like it
Yeah,
sucks. It sucks. It's not easy, but it's like that's just it's how you get stronger. It's how you get better at dealing with it. And so
right.
some people ignore the work, like you said. Like if something doesn't come with working to feel good, it's not good for you. It's not healthy.
Yeah, I mean, that oh, I had a train of thought, I totally lost it. But yeah, I mean, that is healing too, and, like, it becomes easier. It's like, I mean, fitness is such a good, like, way to explain it. Like, you don't go to the gym one time and walk out and you expect to, like, have a six pack and lose 15 pounds. Like,
Right, right.
it takes consistency. You show up and you show up, and, um it just becomes easier over time, and I think that's what people want is, like, that instant gratification. I mean, we live in a world where, like, I mean, dopamine hits are at our fingertips, with
Right.
social
Yeah,
media and, like, Amazon Prime, like, you get your shit
yeah.
24 hours, like, we want
Right.
the answers, like, and gonna have to, yeah, it's the delayed gratification that
Okay.
people,
Yeah.
are resistant to. And that's a skill. It's a skill that you have to work on, just like any other thing.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean,
Yeah.
it's always trying to find that next fix or that next high or that feeling. It's like it's hard to kind of ignore it, but so just it's just things you got to work with. Things you got to work on. What
Right.
what what
Yeah.
what ways like do you find ways to cope? Like what ways do you cope with uh like just that feeling? Because I always tell
Yeah.
people too. Like I always tell people, I always feel like when people ask me that question, I always say like, oh, I just I cope with the gym, and some people aren't gym people. I don't know. I always feel like that's like not. It's a good answer, but it's like I don't know. Like I always tell people, yeah, the gym and running helps.
It
I just
does.
like, yeah, it does. Yeah,
It's not for everyone. I think a lot of people who enter, remove alcohol or recovery, however you want to say it, people get testy with the words you use sometimes.
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I'm open to it all. Like it doesn't bother me. But yeah, I know. I mean, I feel like a ton of people end up like figuring out it's just finding a hobby, like, that's what
yeah,
really, like, the gym is, right? And I love yoga,
right,
and, it's just finding something you really enjoy that puts you into, like, your body, into the present moment, and that's what, like, exercise is so great, is, like, you get out of your head, like,
facts.
you're tired, like, I mean, you're, like, truly in the present moment right then and there, yeah, so I do a lot of exercise, yoga, running, weightlifting is a big part of my life, some other I know people are like get squirrely about the meditation. I do a lot of like just subconscious rework. So I do a lot of like guided hypnotherapy stuff, which
Okay.
is a big part of like how I coach other people too. And it's really like we are kind of already talking about, it's like sitting with those feelings, it's inner child work. So they're like guided audio visualizations that kind of they are self hypnotherapy. So you're trying to get your brain into like a theta state, which is um kind of the state between, so delta is like when we're sleeping, and then theta is right after that, is right before or after that, and so it's really the state between conscious and unconscious, and
Ah,
that's where you can revisit like old memories. Like I'm sure you've heard of like maybe like EMDR and stuff too, like in
oh
therapy.
yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, so it's not like that, but it's like it's a way of like revisiting your past. And so anytime I have like things that are happening in my life that trigger me or like are evoking like high emotion, I usually like to drop into these visualizations and like visit like what's behind this, right? Like
Right,
there's
right.
there's something going on, like it's usually from childhood that like is striking such a strong response. And it just guides you through like just sitting with it, being with it. It's a nervous system relaxation technique. So it's kind of like woo woo for some people, but it's really not. It's really just like nervous system healing. And so that's been a big part of my journey too, is just like really diving deep into the healing and like understanding like the why behind all of it. I like
Yeah,
on it. It's like my favorite thing ever.
yeah. I've heard a lot about the meditation, and I've met a lot of people in this space too that do like meditation. And like I've tried to meditate, and I know they say to put away all distractions and like sit in silence. And I don't know, I'd never. How do you successfully meditate? I really want to know because
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And that's what really hangs people up is like meditation isn't, people think that meditation is sitting in silence and doing nothing and like being still. And yes, that is like a part of it. What meditation is like, because even like the Buddhist monks and like the greatest people who like sit and meditate for hours and sometimes days, like they're not sitting there like in silence with zero thoughts.
yeah,
That's not how the human brain works. What meditation is when you have those, when thoughts start to arise and then you get sidetracked and you're like, fuck, I'm not meditating anymore. That is the practice of meditation. When you are able to acknowledge that your brain has gone somewhere else, and then you say, "Oh, my brain went over here. Okay. Let's bring it back. And that is literally the practice of meditation. And you don't, and what people do is they're like, I'm not doing it right. I suck at this. And it's not about that. It's like, you don't shame yourself. You acknowledge that, like, this is part of the human design. And like, my brain just went over here and now let's bring it back. So people get really, and it's hard. Like, trust me, I don't sit in meditation for long periods of time. It's like, 5, 10, 15 minutes max. And usually my meditation is more guided. So
Hmm.
I prefer to listen to someone talking. I prefer to listen to like theta waves to get me into that
Okay.
subconscious.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's not just pure silence. It's more of just like sitting and being and not doing. Like I have ADHD. Am a like I workaholic. I am like a go, go, go person. So I've really been working on just like being and like
Hmm.
resting. It's like so uncomfortable for me. I don't know if that resonates with you at all, if you're just like a goer and a doer. You
Oh yeah.
seem like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm busy. I'm on the move all the time. Sometimes too, when I'm still and not doing anything, I'm like, I got to do something. Even when like I'm on a vacation or something, it's like, nah,
Yeah.
I need to go back home and just do something. I don't know. But it sounds like you're saying that for meditation, like, cause in my head and like how I am, like sometimes there's like 10, 20 different thoughts just racing through my head. And like, that's why like running is such a big like thing in my life because running and after I run, like it just kind of silences everything and it just kind of calms me down. So I feel like for me, I feel like I might need the guided
Yeah.
meditation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no right or wrong. Like I said, like I think
Yeah.
there's like this idea and stigma of like, you see like the Buddhist monk like sitting on like a yoga mat and like he's just sitting there like for hours, and it's not like that. It's just like giving yourself a moment to like to just not to just sit and be. And when your brain does, because it will go 100 different ways, that is the practice. When so like the more you meditate, the quicker you're able to, you will notice that you've like gone sidetracked, and like you'll get better at like noticing that and just like bringing it back to center. Does that
Yeah. I
make
need to,
sense?
no, it makes sense. I just feel like I
I
need
can
to do
send
it.
you some
Yeah.
stuff. I can send you some
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really like,
Yeah. I would,
and they're shorter. They're like 10 minutes, and, it's just taking a moment to, like, be and not do like we're used to, because that is a form of escapism, as I've learned through this journey, is, like, workaholism and productivity, like, you're avoiding.
really.
Yeah, you're avoiding.
Interesting.
So there's more down there. It's hard to, like, be
Right.
with ourselves because then that's where the thoughts come up.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? And so
Okay.
it's easier just to go and be and do.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
You making me do some work on myself. I'm looking at
Yeah,
myself
yeah.
now. I'm like, damn, because I do like being like on the go and like being productive and being busy. And, sometimes
I
when I
will
sit there,
literally I will literally be at my house and I have, like, 0 plans. I, like, have nothing on my agenda, and, like, watching, like, TV is, like, I mean, I definitely watch, Netflix and all the things, but it's usually at the end of the day. Like, I'm the kind of person that I have to earn my rest.
yeah,
And, like, on a Saturday, like, clicking on the TV and, like, binge watching Netflix for the day, like, that is torturous to me. Like, makes me so uncomfortable. Like, I have to be doing something, and I would just, like, catch myself, like, putzing around my house, and I'm just, like, putting things away and, like,
yeah,
cleaning
yeah,
this, and it's like, I can't sit still, and it is a form of, like, you can't just, like, sit and, like, be with your thoughts, 'cause
yeah,
what's gonna come up?
yeah,
If
yeah.
stuff comes up about, like, "Why am I not doing this and that?" And it's like, go deeper. Like, there's something there.
Damn, you put me on some game. So
I'll
meditation
send
and
you some
therapy.
stuff. Yeah, I'll send you
Oh
some
yeah,
good stuff, some
yeah.
beginner level, like, guided meditations that I like.
Would you say that meditation in like that space is spiritual? Like, would you say you're connecting to
Oh,
a
yeah.
spiritual realm?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely believe in a higher being. God is not my preferred, higher being term. I like to use like the universe. And I genuinely believe that we are all put on this planet for a purpose. And people, and that's what our intuition is, right? It's like telling us, like, with the career stuff that I was telling you about, like, it's such a deep knowing that, like, this is not what I'm meant to be doing. And I think everyone has that. But whether or not people actually take action to, like, do those things, because it's scary. It's scary to quit a job or to do
Oh yeah.
something out of our comfort zone. And so most people, there's a lot of people that never end up even finding what they're meant to do because they're afraid and they're in their comfort zone. But yeah, I definitely think it's spiritual. I think we're all meant to be I think we're all put on the planet to do something, and everyone who comes into their lives, I really view people as, like, you either see them as teachers or lessons, and they're meant to either teach you something or they were a lesson that you were supposed to learn. And that's just like a way I like to walk through my life. And it makes it easier, like, you don't get as, like, triggered by, like, shitty things that happen to you. You're like, "Oh, what
Yeah.
is this supposed to teach me?" You know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Versus seeing it as, like, this big inconvenience. I'm like, these things happen to people, like, just, like, getting cut off on the road or, like, getting a
Mhm.
flat tire. It's just like, this happens to everyone. Like, we don't
Right.
have to,
Right.
like, respond so intensely, like we're a victim in our own lives. It's just life.
No, I hear it. Yeah. 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 I hear it. Are you a creative person at all?
Think that I am. I think we're all creative in our own ways, but, like, I guess when I hear the word, like, creative, I think of, like, something, like, artistic or, like, creating something, like, I don't know, but I know that creativity is beyond that. So, yeah, I mean, I think I can be creative in my own personal way, but, yeah, I don't know why I think of, like, art every time, like, someone
Yeah.
says, "Are you
I
creative?"
mean,
No, I'm not creative, but, like, there's so many other ways you can be creative.
yeah.
But,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
um
creative can mean a lot of things. Even like
yeah.
even with the aesthetic of your page, like the way that you think of portraying that image is
Yeah.
like it's creative. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Did
we're all creative in our own
yeah.
way,
Mhm.
and it just presents differently for people.
Did you
Yeah.
always see yourself like being able to speak out about your story? And I know you said you had when you first got sober like 3 months and you were like, I want to do this. I want to be a coach. But was that always like it wasn't necessarily always a plan, but like were you always like, oh yeah, like, yeah, this
Yeah, no, no, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, even before, like, I got sober, I think I had, like, this inner knowing about it. Like, I talked about getting sober a lot when I wasn't sober. Like, I mean, especially the last years, it was funny because, like, I would, like, get drunk and, like, when you just, like, overshare with people when you're, like,
oh yeah,
out drinking at
oh yeah,
parties, like,
uh-huh.
that became, like, my thing, and I was just like, gotta get sober," like,
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah,
was just like and it was just, like, this inner knowing, and it was just, like, people were probably like, "This chick is fucking crazy." But I knew, like, I was, like, this just inner knowing, I can't explain it. I mean, you probably experience the same thing where you're just like, "Yeah, this has gotta be my path," you know, or my life is just gonna feel point. That's what I felt. I felt like I was living in this prison of just, like, pointlessness. Like, I wasn't living up to my true potential that I knew that I could achieve, and I just felt like I was stuck in this, like,
yeah.
muck. Like, I wasn't going anywhere, and I just, like, it just was, like, a really painful feeling of knowing, like, I'm just meant for so much more than this, than what I'm doing.
There's a quote that I heard is addiction is like being trapped in the cage, but the door is wide open. And it's like you have that potential and feeling to, get out whenever you want, but you're putting yourself in that cage. And I don't know, it's an interesting way like to look at it.
It is a choice. Like, we pick up the drink every time, and I realize there is a spectrum to it, but I think that's what keeps people stuck sometimes is they feel like they don't have a choice, and they do. They just need more. Depending on where you are in the spectrum, you just need more help to
Yeah.
kind of step through that cage to get out. Um, so yeah.
I think who you have around you too plays a big part of like your sobriety journey and actually wanted to get sober? Because I know some friends like to have, misery loves company, and some friends just like to get drunk or, numb themselves all the time, and they just want company to do that with. And then once, you say, "Oh no, I want to get sober, I want to change, I want to grow," some people are like, "Oh," like they get offended. Is there
Yeah,
other people in your circle where you're like that you've distanced yourself from, or there's people you don't talk to, like, because I know everybody has that in their journey, but you know,
for sure. No, there definitely is. Is there anyone like close, like that was like close in my life that I had to like walk away from? No, I'm very blessed on that end, but there was definitely like obviously the people that I was partying with. And I think too, just like going through that healing process too, you realize that sometimes like connections aren't as like deep as you thought they were because they were more like alcohol induced and party
okay,
induced and social induced, you know? So, um, but people who are truly offended or triggered by your decision to stop drinking, it has nothing to do with you and it has
oh
everything
no,
to do, like, it's you, and they're most likely someone who's, struggling with their own relationship with alcohol,
hmm,
in some sort of form, whether they're even consciously aware of that or not. Sometimes they're completely oblivious to it, but they're just projecting their own insecurities onto you, and, like, you're
facts.
basically a mirror to them. You're holding up a mirror, and that triggers something inside of them, usually jealousy or resentment or, they're mad at themselves that they don't have, the courage to be able to do that. So yeah, I always tell people that I work with, like, because this always comes up, like so and so isn't supporting, or they get really nasty and like make comments, and it's like it has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Is there any part of your journey that you regret?
Um, like my drinking journey or my sober journey or
Just
both?
like, yeah, just yeah, yeah. It's like I would say, yeah, and the journey in general.
Um, I was about to say I regret not doing it sooner. Um, but I think I've passed that being a regret. I think it all is in divine timing, and I just like, I just wasn't there yet emotionally, and I just wasn't ready to take that leap. But yeah, I mean, there's things I did and said when I was drinking that I certainly regret. You can't take those things back, but I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
pretty normal and common. I don't think so. I mean, I think the most standard, like, basic response is what I just said, like, just
I
things
think,
that I did or said and in
yeah,
my active drinking and, yeah,
I think I
substance
think it's
abuse.
I think it's a good thing though. Like if you don't have any regrets of like the way that you've lived your life up to this point and becoming the person that you are, I think it's a good thing to not to regret anything. Because I've had this like this I don't know, epiphany is if this is the right word, but I've had this feeling of a couple weeks ago of just like, you know what, like, up to this point in my life, I have no regrets of what happened. I don't regret anything that's happened. I mean, I do regret some of the things that I've done up until this point right now. Like the way that I've lived my life, it's like if it led me back to this point in this feeling of how I feel right now and how I think and how I live right now, I I do it again.
I agree, I totally agree. Actually, I know this sounds insane, but I'm, like, grateful
Hmm.
that this all happened to me because I genuinely, like, it goes back to what I was saying of just, like, everyone's purpose, and I think I was literally meant to, like, the life I was meant to live out was to help people through this process, and I wouldn't be able to do that as good as I do and will, without those real experiences too, I think it's so much more powerful to guide people when you can resonate with what they're going through, right? Like, I mean, you can find a therapist that's like, has gone to school and learned about like substance abuse and addiction, but like until they've lived that, they can't. It's not as powerful. It's not the same. It's in my personal opinion, like, to be able to level with someone and be like, I fucking see you. Like, I've been there. Like, what you're feeling right now, I have felt that.
Trust me, yeah.
That's, I mean, to have like empathy to that level. And I think that's what other people going through this journey want. They want to be, that goes back to the community piece. Like, they want to be understood because it's a scary place to be because it's very lonely and addiction thrives in loneliness. So for someone
Yeah.
to understand what you're going through is just like, I mean, it's very healing and powerful. So
Yeah.
there is no regrets on that end because I wouldn't have been able to guide clients, future, past, present, um, the way that I do without having that experience myself.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of grateful for it, which sounds insane.
I mean, yeah, it sounds crazy to some, but it makes a lot of sense to others.
Right.
Some people it takes time for them to realize that, and some people never realize that. You but
Yeah.
I feel like as long as you realize that, and as long as you are trying to attempt to realize that, you're on the right path, to becoming content and a better version of yourself.
Right. 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 Yeah. I agree. Totally.
I mean, yeah, but yeah, I don't have anything else for you, but
Hey, this has been great.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Is there anything you want to plug? Is there anything you want to shout out? I know you do coaching. Everybody tap in with
Yeah.
Rach.
Yeah, I mean, everyone can find me. I'm on Instagram at SoberFitReach.
I'll tag
And
you.
yeah, awesome. And then, yeah, I do one-on-one coaching. I also have some courses that I'm working on that I'm going to release. Because sometimes just, yeah, people aren't ready to do the one-on-one coaching or it just doesn't make financially
Yeah.
sense for them at the time. So just working on other resources, for wherever to meet people wherever they're at in their journey. And yeah, I'm at coachwithrach.com and then soberfitrach on Instagram. So
Alrighty. Y'all heard it here first. Tap in.
yay.
Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate you, sharing your journey and being vulnerable and opening up, to the audience. It's hopefully
Yeah.
people get a lot of value and insights from you. And I definitely did.
Well,
But
good.
yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah,
was a great conversation. Like I
of
said,
course.
it's so fun connecting with like-minded souls and yeah, new friendships have been made just
Of
here. So
course.
it's
Yeah, yeah,
awesome.
yeah, yeah. Of
Yeah.
course.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, of course. If y'all made it this far, thank you for tapping in. This is the Sober and Unbothered podcast. I will see y'all next week. Later.